Okay, we back, and I think last week we still got Elder Grady over here, and we had a pretty hefty discussion on Satan. Who is he? What is his purpose? And it's really sobering to think how much influence he have on our society, not only our society, on the world. And we really want to saturate. We gonna have part one, part two, part three, part four, because we gonna deal with reprobated minds. We gonna deal with a lot of subject. We know that he's there to kill, steal, and destroy, but we still don't understand how he influenced the average Joe Blow in the world. We see all this killing in the world. We seeing all this discontent in families. But we want to just reiterate what some of the things that he is, and some of the things I mentioned last week is that Satan is a real spiritual being. He's the chief opponent of God. He opposes God. And Satan deceives people. He tempts people to sin and robs people of their life. Satan is literally a fallen angel. He's the powerful demonic personality of evil. And he's a symbol of evil. And he's associated with sin. He's called, even sometimes some use the man of sin. And we're going to get Grady in this discussion in a minute. But what I want to do, today we want to start by talking about, we're going to look at this Genesis, the fall of man. We're going to go all the way back. And as far as we want to see how he talks. And then we're going to get into a lively discussion. This is going to be an abbreviated portion today. We really want to slow it down so we understand, just like this young man who got killed the other day. And I forget his name, but, people got fired over that and over something. And they shouldn't even be commenting on, and they thought some people were celebrating because they thought he was some sort of they thought he was some sort of monster, and it was right to kill him. Forget his name, but whatever. And the one guy Kimball, he got fired over by making a joke over his death, and that's the kind of Satan loves stuff like that. So we want to really talk about the fall of man. We're gonna go back to the garden when Satan was in the garden. He was as a serpent, and I'm gonna let Grady make a comment before I even get into that fall of man, and let him talk a little bit about what he wants to talk about Satan, the serpent, the dragon, the devil, and all this other stuff. We think it's a joke, but I'm telling you, he's no joke because he influenced people. He can influence you.
Shoot,
just that easy. He can influence you. So, Grady, you want to talk about it a little bit, or what?
Yeah, why not? We've always, misunderstood the purpose of Satan. And I say that because there are a lot of people in the world who look at Satan or worship him and think he's good to do so. So they don't understand that by worshiping of Satan, they're rejecting God.
Yes.
And therefore, by worshiping of Satan, just like Satan who rejected God himself, therefore now they're rejecting God and accepting Satan as their God, believing that somehow or another Satan is going to give them what they want. And what do they want? Power. They want to be able to we've seen these little we've seen these movies or TV shows where witches snap their fingers and all of a sudden all that stuff and do all of a sudden bam, things appear.
Yes.
And that's what they think.
Was a nice witch.
It'll make a difference. The thing is that they want that kind of power. They think that Satan gonna give them that kind of power. But in reality, it's not going to happen. Okay? Because God ain't going to allow it to happen.
Exactly.
Now, these people can, let's say, open themselves up to those evil spirits, and they can honestly dominate them. And if they and the only way for them to basically get out of that situation, or hopefully they can become dispossessed, let's say.
Right.
Is through Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
And seeking him or seeking God through Jesus Christ to be delivered from such demonic power. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Now We were talking earlier before we came on air. We was talking about we was talking about demonic possessions and I even see people walking around with snakes on their tattoo. They tattoo snakes and
Yeah,
and they got Ouija board, those little things on their bodies now, and on their neck,
right,
and they're on their legs and their stomach and their back, and they think it's okay. They think it's nothing is wrong with that. But right. I like to go back in the garden with him. We gonna see how he talks. 'Cause he's not that. He's smooth. He's the way he talks.
So yes, he is.
When he first started, when he talked to Eve in the garden, he was saying, he was speaking to her, and he said, the first thing he said, did God actually say you shall not eat from any tree in the garden? That was how smooth. I know there's a lot of other things. We go down to verse 5 and all that. I know the interchangeable things. Eve came back with her comment, he's disputing that, and then she said, well, we can eat from it, but you can't. He say, no, we can't even touch. Something like that.
Right.
But when you go down, he will come back and he will say something like, you will not, because she said you're surely gonna die, and he come back and say, you won't surely die. So basically he was saying God's a liar. And
he was telling her that.
He was telling her that, and she believed this serpent over what God had said.
Right.
And that's the key. Even there, people will come back even the day of grace. No, God won't. I can do, and God won't. That kind of thing. They think it's okay, and they think God. And he said, the man that sinneth, God is not mocked, but whatever man. So if he reap and all, we go there and they say God is not mocked. But we believe in this day in grace that we can do anything we want to do. And he said, and I love the way he said, for God knows when you eat of it, your eyes will be open. Your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. That statement, even when he was talking to Jesus in the garden, he knows one thing about Satan. Because Satan was, you go back to the name Lucifer. He was there.
You said, but Lucifer being like light.
Like he was a God. He was light.
Yeah.
He was a worship leader, like some of these worship leaders in the church. Yeah. And they honestly think you got people like now you got partners. You got two men, a bishop and his partner.
Shucks.
Now they would say it's okay. See, he even got people influence. And that's what I'm saying. That influence is so strong. And people say, well, he's still working on them. Some young ladies I talk to say, well, I'm still a work in progress. And it's not that you can't repent, but he can influence. And that influence is so strong, especially in the society today, that we don't even understand. I was telling you about a book called Pigs in the Parlor.
Right.
And I said, I even said one day, I was walking down in the mall. And a young, the lady, can you help me? Can you help me? And I said, yeah, I can probably help you, because you could tell she was kind of off, and she was kind of had a little mental issue. But she was with this crowd, and she got away from the crowd, and she said, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And I said, yeah, I think I can help you. I was gonna go get the guard to try to help her find that group that she was in, and she turned around and smacked my face, real hard.
Yeah.
And I said, wow. And then I said, I said to myself, nah, I ain't gonna help you. I'm getting away from you. You crazy. But she was influenced.
Right.
She was influenced. She didn't know why she probably did what she did. But that's the kind of influence. And, that's the kind of influence. It goes all the way back in the garden. And you think, I wanted to show you today, even in Job, you see him speaking to God. Back in Job.
I mean, Satan is definitely out there.
He's an accuser.
Yeah.
And we accuse one another. That's how much influence. We accuse each other. When you say, well, if you think you're a Christian, or is that person a Christian? Or if you be a Christian, you wouldn't. That sounds like, that's why sometimes I sit back when people say those things, because I know who's influencing. They may not be in the person, but the person's language itself. That's why I try not to say those things to people, because I understand how Satan can easily, or his demonic friends can easily influence someone. And I'll let you go ahead. I took too long. Go ahead and talk.
No, it's the same thing. I mean, you're right. Satan is an influencer. and we look at the influencers today, what they call
influence.
them, because they have
Facebook and all.
but yeah,
they
where their
influence.
job is to, let's say, present to you something. In the case of these online influencers, that be it good, bad, or indifferent, their job is to get you to do something.
Yes.
If that's their aim, or even if they're just sitting there talking much like we are. We're not trying to influence you to serve God, but we're just putting out there that these are the things that are in the world.
Yes.
Satan is in the world, love is in the world, understanding is in the world. But we just point out right now, we just talking about Satan, just to let you know that he's out there too.
And we wanted you to talk about his character. We
definitely talk about his character
and stuff like that.
And
okay, we got 5 minutes. We're gonna wrap it up.
Right. And so therefore, we just want you to know, hey, the things that you do, basically you may think is okay, but what influences you to do these things? And we know that, a lot of people, it said that, some people have to, if they, well, honestly, some people have, they open up themselves to Satan through drug use, through alcoholism, and just sometimes because they just want some excitement in their life.
Exactly.
And so they open themselves up to things to, in order to kind of be a part of something. And there's the things we have to be aware of. And so if Satan can influence you to open yourselves up to his influence or to the influence of others who are already being influenced,
right,
then that's when we run into problems, because we think, if this is okay, because I think it's okay, or I don't really get a bad feeling about it. But, we can't go by our feelings. But we just want you to know that Satan is just out there doing whatever he can to get you to turn your back on God. And I heard it said like this: Satan ain't, some of y'all, say, well, Satan never bothered me. That probably because you're already already
camp.
Yeah, you're already in his pocket, so to speak.
That's right.
So he's not after you; he's after the people that aren't here.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
You just got to be aware.
And what we're gonna do, we're gonna wrap it up by saying we're gonna wrap it up by saying we want you to give us some comments. And on our website, on the YouTube page, we want you to put down some comments in the comment section, and we will probably discuss that, because we want to stay on this subject, because next week we're gonna talk about Job, because that's how he accuses us unaware. Job is a perfect example on how Satan, like he said, does Job fear you for nothing? Oh, for no reason. Oh, that's a powerful statement. He's talking to God now. God is talking to Satan, and Satan said, "Do he serve you for nothing?"
Why do you say it? Why do you?
Why do?
Why does anybody serve God?
you? Why do anybody serve God? Maybe we want to ask that question and we answer it next week. Why do we serve God? Why do we go to church? Why do we fellowship?
Right.
Why don't we like each other? Why don't in-laws and law like each other? Why don't husbands like their wives? Why are we living together? Why are we having adultery affairs? We need to answer those questions, because that's being influenced by this person called Satan.
Personality.
The devil. He's a personality. He's a person. And you got to understand who's influencing you. And when you ask yourself those questions, we want to come back next week and we want to give a full half hour to that kind of influence. Like we said, he's an influencer and he's all that. And we need to understand why. Am I being influenced?
Yeah.
Okay. I asked that question. Am I a reprobate? As a Christian, are we going to talk about all these subjects? Not next week, but we're going to come back with different questions and different answers based on what we get. And we're going to try to answer those questions.
Right.
We're going to try to be civil to one another. We might get a little upset and we
I
might get excited,
that.
but we are going to answer those questions. And and hopefully we're going to wrap it up right now. Like I said, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section I'm putting this out on the YouTube, because we need to understand who this person is. Jesus understood who he was. Adam and Eve, probably after he made them sin, understood who he was. But do you and me, this in 2025, know who Satan is when we out there shaking it like it's hot? So I'm going to leave it on that note. We will talk to you next week. God bless you.
Don't buy my book.
Buy the book.